Please explain why national inflation increases and decreases, and what is the government involvement? Yeah. So what happens is when demand is too high for products, prices go up, obviously. And the only way to stop prices going up is to raise interest rates. And the reason the governments around the world have not raised interest rates, and the reason they're letting inflation go between 6 and 8% in many countries, is because of COVID. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing the results from new COVID strands, and things are not getting worse. And so the government is going to raise rates. Now, there's a 99% probability, as priced in by the financial markets, that the United States government, within the next 30 days, is going to raise interest rates by 0.5% or 50 basis points. And the reason why they're doing it now is not just because inflation is kind of getting out of hand, but because they feel that they have kind of a handle on this COVID issue. Now, raising interest rates over the past 2 years, when we had no idea if COVID was going to get worse, would have been problematic because you would destroy economies while people are panicking and there's fear. And governments hate it when there's panic and fear. So as you raise interest rates, what happens is inflation actually starts to subside. And if you don't do it, you don't have an economy. Like in the early 1980s, inflation in America was close to 20%. It was awful. It was really high. And so the government raised interest rates close to 20%. They had to fight it. And it killed the economy, but they had to do it. They had to do it. And that's why the stock market sucked in the early 80s, because interest rates were high. So when interest rates are low, the stock market usually does well. And all speculative asset classes like NFTs, etc., do well, because the cost of capital is zero. And a lot of hedge funds and wealthy investors, what they do is when interest rates are very low, they borrow a lot of money to invest on margin. Don't do that, please. But when interest rates start to rise, they don't use as much margin. And that small change in margin or use of margins by hedge funds and high net worth investors destroys markets, right? It causes a sell-off, a bit of a sell-off, and then people panic and there's panic selling. And as Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Yeah. But I think we need to start raising interest rates now. It makes sense. And if you don't raise interest rates, then you're shooting yourself in the foot the next time the economy crashes. Because what happens is this. When the economy is doing well, you're supposed to raise rates a little bit so that when the economy is not doing well, you can jumpstart the economy by cutting rates. And if you didn't raise rates when times were good, you don't have that financial weapon, so to speak, to jumpstart the economy.